y'all thought I was done? Nah, I want all the smoke. See, I'm not a hater of any people, but the fact of the matter is, the same Jewish community that labels many of us in the black community as anti-Semitic have a long history of anti-blackness that they don't want to acknowledge. Let's get into it. Rabbi Milton Grafton from the Temple Emmanuel Synagogue in Birmingham, Alabama. This devil is quoted as saying, the lives of 1,000 Negroes are not worth the hair on the head of a single Jew. But Brother Joshua, didn't Jews help us with the civil rights movement? That's a good question. Dr. Martin Luther King's advisor, Bayard Rustin, said while speaking at the conference on Negro-Jewish relations in the United States, held in May of 1964, and I quote, I am here to tell you that the Jews in the South are playing no creative role in the civil rights struggle. That's what he said. I'm just relaying it. But Brother Joshua, didn't Jews help abolish slavery though? Let's look into it. According to the American and Foreign Anti-Slavery Society in their report of 1853, oh yeah, we going back, baby. I quote, the Jews of the United States have never taken any steps whatsoever with regard to the slavery question. The American Jews have 2 newspapers, but they do not interfere in any discussion which is not material to their religion. The report goes on to say, it cannot be said that the Jews have formed any denominational opinion on the subject of American slavery, end quote. But let's take a look at what they did, however, publish in their newspapers. We coming with receipts today, baby. This is from the Jewish Tribune, St. Louis, Missouri, November 10th, 1882. This article is meant to be funny. And in this article, they're mocking a dead Sambo nigger, as they call him, who drowned in a river. See, these folks have a long history of mocking black folks, but there's more. According to Jewish historian Dr. Michael Rogan, and I quote, immigrant Jews had pretty well taken over blackface by the early 20th century. Damn, blackface too? Blackface racism is already wicked, but to build a business to specifically support and advance race hate, as did the M. Stein Cosmetic Company, this is the very definition of institutionalized racism. Part of the reason many in the Jewish community don't want to acknowledge this wickedness is because they also have to acknowledge that they became rich off the backs of black folks. They'd have to also acknowledge their hand in the slave trade. Then our demand for reparations will be just that much stronger. Ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall most certainly set you free.
And it gets deeper than that. And it gets much deeper than that. Shalom, I'm going to give all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Karkadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Salutation to all the brothers and a few sisters out there. Unto the Israelite foreigners from the seed of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Shalom in the Hebrew, which means peace. I want this to be a quick one through the spirit of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. Facts keeps on rolling, man. We're in a time of the exposure. You devils are being exposed. The devil's being exposed. There was a woman that came on. She was from the land, and she had a I did a show and I forgot where she made a statement in Chicago. She said Hamas is not the greatest threat, but young black men in the streets of America are the threat. Why would people of color, as you see, so insignificant, be a threat? Because the truth is coming out. All right. Matter of fact, I'm going somewhere different. I thought I was gonna go to. He's the spirit. It's the spirit. It's the spirit. It's the spirit. I must say. It says. Let me go to it. Wisdom of Solomon 5:1. Then shall the righteous man stand in great boldness before the face of such as have afflicted him. So that's why they feel threatened that the so-called blacks of America, the youth movement, is to them, because the truth is out. The world's really realizing that you people are not claiming who you are. You want to play the victim, but you the victimizer. You the one's causing all this shit. And he said, the last thing that he said was they was responsible for the transatlantic slave trade. So the truth is coming out. But you're not going to hear this in CNN. You're not going to hear this in Fox or any MSNBC. You're going to hear, oh, the small hatters fears to go to college. They're being threatened on campus and all this other stuff. So the Lord is stirring things up. And it starts with this. I'm going to read it again. It says, then shall the righteous man stand in great boldness before the face of such as has afflicted them, and make no accounts of his labors. And that's what's happening. The people of the Most High, the Lord's chosen people, are to start to realize something. Matter of fact, I was in some of the Baruch, since I'm here. Let me get this out the way too. Baruch 3. No, I'm not. Baruch 2. Baruch 2 and Salakia. Baruch 2 and 32. No, matter of fact, I started 30. It says, for I knew they would not hear me, because it is a stiff-necked people. Talking about you actual Israelites, you Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans. You are hard-headed. All right? You are hard-headed. The Lord created us to be hard-headed. When Jake, which I explained, that's the short term of saying Jacob, when they are fully persuaded in their mind for something, there's nothing that gets in their way. So either good or bad, our people always have the tendencies of sticking in their hard-headed ways. So the Lord knew exactly why he made us. But in the land of their captivities, they shall remember themselves. So we are starting to remember ourselves. That's a threat to the establishment. All right? That's a big threat to the powers that be. Revelations 11, and I start at 8. It says, and the dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city, which is spiritually called Sodom and Egypt. Dead is not meaning actual physically dead. Dead is talking about spiritually dead. All right? So the dead bodies of the Israelites, or the dead Israelites, are here in America. Well, since I'm in Baruch, let me get that real quick. Baruch 3 says, should be up here. Baruch 3 and 4. O Lord Almighty, the power of Israel, hear now the praise of the dead Israelites. How can a dead Israelite pray to the Lord? If he's physically dead, he's already in the spiritual realm. So it's talking about, it's talking about spiritually dead. The spiritual dead Israelites, hear our praise, and of the children of their children which have sinned before thee, and not hearken unto the voice of thee, their power, for the which cause the plagues cleave unto us. And part of that plague is not knowing who we are. All right? Jeremiah 17 and 4 tells you that the Lord shall discontinue us from our heritage. So here we are, not knowing who we are, And these people took full advantage. And who was the leading force of that? These small hatters, same people he just make mention of. Oh, how disgusting it is to fully understand that these people have done such a horrific deed, take full advantage of us. It says, and their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city, which that great city is talking about here in America. All right. The majority, the elect of the nation of Israel, and 2/3 of the nation of Israel. All right, the elect is scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. However, 2/3 of the nation of Israel is here. This is what a great judgment is taking place in this great city. All right, and it says, which is spiritually called Sodom and Egypt, where also our Lord was crucified. And was our Lord actually physically crucified here? No, but his image was, all right, who he is, that was crucified, X'd out in the minds of the people, minds of the Israelites, give them no hope. And they of the people and the kindreds and tongues and the nations shall see the dead bodies 3 days and a half, which is 350 years, shall see them in his dead state, and shall not suffer the dead bodies to be put in graves, meaning give them no resting place, give them no closure. All right. A grave is when you put someone to rest, right? To put them to rest. We didn't have that. They tormented us. They taken full advantage of us. It says, verse 10, and they that dwell upon the earth shall rejoice over them. What was the rejoicement? The rejoicement is they finally took us down. And make merry and send gifts one to another. And the gifts, who happens to be the gift? The gifts has been the blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans. Who funded that? Who funded it? Who funded it? Well, there's a saying in the world, follow the money. Follow the money. For the young man to come to that conclusion, because he went backwards. For the young man to figure out that conclusion, shows you that history shows you follow the money, you see who's really responsible for it. And that so happens to the people that is of Esau, which is, out of all Edomites, is Amalek. All right? Which is Amalek. It says, because these two prophets, which is the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom, all right, tormented them that dwell on the earth. And how did these two prophets tormented them while they dwell in the earth? When you read up, it was speaking of the accounts of Moses and Elijah. All right? And the great prophets of old, and how under these great prophets was given great power. And when you read the history, when you know the history of Israel, you know that the Lord's prophets are the most important people, period. So where did the lineage of the prophets come from? They came from the people, the Israelites. All right? And Israel is known for ruling the kingdoms. It says in Samuel's, that David got himself a name for slaughtering 42,000, if I'm not mistaken, maybe 42,000 Assyrians. So our history proves we're far superior than these other nations. And because of that act, that's why they hated us. And it says, verse 3, and after 3 days and a half, the spirit of life from the Most High entered into them. Then the spirit of life is what? Is truth. Has entered into who? The Israelites. The true Hebrew Israelites. All right? From whatever perspective tribe they're from. Starting with Abba Bivens, and the legacy moves on. Now, the talk of the town, the talk of the world is Hebrew Israelites. All right? Something that was funded not for us to know all this whole time, now is common knowledge. Everybody's starting to know. Athletes are talking. Athletes are talking. Rappers, singers, everybody's starting to talk. That which was held down, which is the truth, is springing up. Who's who and what's what. And it says, and they stood upon their feet. Meaning what? No longer are we going to be consider ourselves anything else. All right? That's why we out in the highways and the byways. This is the biggest threat to this whole entire thing. All right? These small hatters have a lot to pay for. A lot. From stealing identities. All right? Identity theft. They're the greatest identity theft. That's the other thing that the young man doesn't quite understand. How they stole our identities. And to this day, black culture and all this other shit that they created. All right? Black culture was black culture. However, the term, the stereotype, you live up to that thing that they wanted to. But when you don't call yourself black or Hispanic or Native American or all that sort, that's a threat to them. All right? But especially if you call yourself by your proper names. Whatever tribe that you're from, that's the biggest threat. It says, and they stood up on their feet. That's why you have all these camps sprung out from New York City to all over the world. Men claiming to be the people of the Bible. All right? And it says, and great fear fell upon them which saw them. So fear is running rampant into their community because the jig is up. People are starting to realize who exactly these people are. And this is main thing. Matter of fact, let me just get to this. Deuteronomy 19. Was it last verse? No, it's not 19. Slack it. Who had it? Oh, it's 25 and 19. I had the other way around. It says, Deuteronomy 25 and 17. Remember what Amalek did unto thee by the way when I came forth out of Egypt. So what did Amalek do for the Lord to say, remember this? It's going to say how he met thee by the way and smote the uttermost of thee, even all that were feeble behind thee, when I was faint and weary, and he feared not the Most High. Therefore it shall be, when the Lord thy power have given thee rest for all thine enemies round about, in the land which the Lord thy power given thee, for thy inheritance to possess it, that thou shalt blot out the remembrance of Amalek from under the heaven, thou shalt not forget it. So the Lord wants us to remember a particular people, which is, out of all Esau, Edom, this is the ones that we got to remember most. This is the ones that we're going to have, I believe that the other verse says, from generation to generation. War with this particular people from generation to generation. Why? Because they have a heavy hand into our downfall. They have a heavy hand that's to dictate what has happened to us. All the trauma that we go through as a people, they're responsible for. All right? The guy said, oh, what about the civil rights? Well, guess what? That I Have a Dream business, that was written by them. The NAACWP, they started that. So every single thing they did, it was not for our well-being. It was for our destruction. Our utter destruction. So the jig is up. The world realized what's going on. Amos 1 and 11. It says, thus saith the Lord, for 3 transgressions of Edom. All right. So Amalek is a part of Edom. Who is Edom today? The so-called white man. The earth is given to the hand of the wicked. 2nd Ezra 6th chapter in the 7th verse on down to the 9th verse, tells you from Abraham unto Isaac, when Jacob and Esau was born of him, Jacob's hand held first the heel of Esau. For Esau is the end of the world, Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. So who's in a prominent position? Esau, Edom. It says, for 3 transgressions of Edom, what is the transgression? The breaking of the law. And for 4, I will not turn away the punishment thereof. So whatever the Lord has slated for this particular people, he's not going to turn away his wrath nor his punishment towards them. Because he did pursue his brother with the sword. All right, who is Esau, Edom's brother? Going to the history, Genesis, the 25th chapter, tells you Jacob and Esau was born of Isaac. So he did pursue Jacob, the true Israelites, with the sword, and did cast off all pity, and his anger did he tear perpetually, and kept his wrath forever. So the receipts that the young man was showing is the main receipts, some of the receipts of what these people have done unto us. When it goes, going back to everything, when it goes back to the traumatization of the black community, the Hispanic community, the Native Americans, the receipts, all the money goes back to those particular people. And you see why the Lord hates them? You see why the scriptures speak ill towards them? Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, which is the God of the Bible, has made war with Amalek. And Amalek has been at war with us, unbeknownst to us, unconsciously, consciously, all around. All right? There's a great division between these two parties. And the Lord is showing the world who this devil is. Let me get one more and then I'm going to end it. Numbers 24. 24, 17. Numbers 24 and 18, Slakia. And Edom shall be a possession. Seir also shall be a possession for his enemies, and Israel shall do valiantly. And this is speaking of who? Of the coming of our Lord. Matter of fact, I started at 17. All right? Who the world ignorant called JC, which I don't like saying. None of us like saying it because that's not his name. Matter of fact, Numbers 24 and 17. So I see him, but not now. I shall behold him, but not nay. There shall come a star out of Jacob. A scepter shall rise out of Israel, which is the royal bloodline. Who's this star? It's talking about Yahushua, who the world ignorantly call G. You know, the rest. Jesus, I just say. All right. He shall smite the corners of Moab, destruct and destroy all the children of Seth. And Edom shall be a possession. Seir also shall be a possession. So Edom, the people, and their lands is going to be our possession. For his enemies, and Israel shall do valiantly, and out of Jacob shall come he that shall have dominion, and shall destroy them that remaineth of the city. And when he looked on Amalek, who's a part of Edom, but they the heads of Edom, he took up this parable and said, Amalek was the first of the nations, but his latter end shall be that he perish forever. So the Lord has a special sort of loving, which is not love, towards these particular people that's going around calling themselves the J word, all right, the who's, okay, claiming to be us, and coming to find out every misfortune, mistreatment, everything that went wrong towards us, they were fully responsible for. So yeah, the Lord is going to do a number on these people. So with that being said, shalom to the elect of the nation of Israel. Shalom.